YouTube, man, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kevin Elijah. We're back today. I have a video that I want to drop for you guys. It was put on my heart. This one's a little deep. It's a little more of a sensitive matter, but let's get right into it because it's gonna show you a little bit of who I am, but most importantly, it's gonna show you the God that I serve, how great He is. So let's jump right into it. Let me give you a little backstory because without the backstory, it's hard to understand. So I'm gonna give you some context. So I grew up in a church. I'm actually a PK. My grandparents are pastors on my mom's side. So from the time that I can remember, I was in church, raised in church every Sunday. My stepfather, he was also a pastor, became the youth pastor, and then became the second pastor for the church. So I was there all the time. But some way, somehow, at some point, I lost my way. I ended up getting in trouble, going to prison. You guys know a little bit about that part. So I got in trouble. I went to prison, and this was actually my second time when I had an encounter. So at this time, I was in the hole. I was up north during this bid, and I was in the hole fighting my case. I was angry. I had a lot going on. This was my second term. I did two back to back with like a month in between. So I was angry. I was hurt. I had a lot going on. I'm in the hole. I'm giving the police issues. I'm giving inmates issues. I'm tripping. I'm not home. I'm from LA, so I'm way far away. So I'm not really feeling it at all on any level. So long story short, I was in the hole. And while I was in the hole, I first got there and I had a cellie. They ended up moving him out of my cell because I ended up getting in more trouble. So they were trying to discipline me more, not letting me have access to certain things that I had access to through him. So he'd make calls for me. I'd send money to his book so he can order for me. So I was still getting around the punishment that they had designed for me. So it wasn't working. So they didn't like it. They moved him out of my cell. Another dude came in my cell. Same thing. They ended up moving him out of my cell. I guess it was an accident that they put him in there. So whatever. I ended up getting off of the little punishment they had me on, and they moved me into a third brother cell. So I'm in this cell with the dude. He ends up going to court, getting released. So now I'm by myself. So at this time, I'm happy. I'm just happy to be by myself. I'm not in trouble no more, so I can order. So that's not the problem. I just don't want to be bothered with anybody. So I remember my mom visiting me. She did a video visit, and they called me out of my cell. They called me down to the video room, and my mom was there waiting for me for a visit. So I remember going in that visit, talking with my mom and bragging, talking about I'm by myself. My mom knows how I am. She's like, this is just good for you because you're just hot-headed, you're hard-headed. So I'm glad you're by yourself. I don't know if she truly was, but she was acting like she was. So she was happy for me. I'm bragging to her. We do our visit. Our visit is over. So at the end of our visit, the police come back, they handcuff me, they take me back to my cell. Remind you, I'm in the hole, so they cuff you everywhere you go. So as I'm walking back up to my cell, I see the door open. So I'm like, what the hell is my door open for? So I get to the door, and they're like, pack up your stuff, you're moving. Hold on. Let's stop this. Let's stop right here. Because I forgot to give you guys the most important part. The most important part, which was before the visit, maybe a day or two before the visit. I was in my cell by myself. It was a few days by myself. I'm doing push-ups, work out every day. I used to do push-ups on the Bible. Like I used to stack, not just the Bible, but I had a Bible, so I'd stack it up along with the rest of my books. And I bust down, I do my push-ups. So I'm doing my push-ups. I remember this day, and I see the Bible. I'm like, dang, I ain't picked this up in a minute. It's been a while. Like, My first term, I picked it up in the county only until I got sentenced, got to prison, threw it out, got home, threw it out, went back, and now I see myself again facing the same situation. I'm like, dang, this is crazy. So I see the Bible. I'm like, I pick it up. And, I grew up in church, so I know how to pray fairly well. I understand rededication prayers and things of that nature. So I start get right into it. Forgive me, bring me back, all of those type of things, trying to get back realigned. All right, so finally they get me back up there. They like, Kev, you moving? And I'm like, I'm not moving. This is obvious to me that y'all heard me talking to my mom and y'all just trying to throw me off. Like, that's the type of game that the police play. So this is not like way out thinking. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh no, y'all tripping. Like, I'm about to stand 10 toes down and whatever gonna happen. Remind you, there's a brother next door to me. He's an older black guy. He just came in like yesterday, the day before. That's whose cell they're telling me I'm going in. I'm like, I'm not going in his cell. I done already seen him, been looking out the window at him on the yard because ain't nothing to do but watch the day room and watch TV. So you see everybody. So you see how everybody moves. I'm like, he's a smoker. I'm not going in there with him. That's what I'm thinking. They like, man, you going in there, you ain't got no choice. I said, no, I'm not. Y'all already know what time it is. Like, y'all already know how I get out. So they like, man, you going in there, you don't have no choice. I'm like, I'm not going in there. They said classification already moves you. This is what it is. So they pop my tray slot. Your tray slot is where they feed you food, but when you're in the hole, that's also where they handcuff you from. So they pop my tray slot like cuff up. I'm like, okay, I already see this. I'm not finna win this. I done been down this road 100 times at this point. So I'm like, I'm not finna win this. So I give in. So I put my hand through the tray slot. They cuff me up. They walk me down to the front. So as I walk by, I see the dude cell dirty. I'm like, man, I'm not going in there. Y'all tripping. Y'all smoking. So I go down and they put me in the holding tank in the front. Now the holding tank is the dirtiest part of the jail. So I don't want to be in here for sure, but I don't want to be in there. So I'm sitting in the holding tank, waiting for classification. The lady comes and she sees me. So she comes in. She's like, Mr. Farmer, what's going on with you? You're in my county giving us problems, and you're going to go in that cell. So I look at her like, ma'am, you're tripping. Look, I don't know who you are, what you got going on, but y'all got to figure out somewhere to put me. She says, there's nowhere to put you. You done got kicked out over here. You're in the hole. Your points are too high, so we can't put you back. You have to go. That's the only cell open. That's the only black cell open. Remind you, I'm up north. It's a bunch of Norteños. So what they saying to me is kind of valid. Like what I'm supposed to do. So I'm sitting in there, and then she gave me the ultimatum. She like, you're gonna go in there or you're gonna sleep in here because there's nowhere to put you. All right, let's get it. So she like, all right, I'm finna have somebody walk you. So somebody come, handcuff me, they grab my property, they walk me over there, they throw me in this cell. Larry Bland. I'll never, ever, ever forget this man's name. They threw me in his cell, man, and this man changed my life. Like, it was the craziest encounter I've ever had. It was so real. It was miraculous. So they throw me in the cell with dude. At this time, I'm in the same pod because I've already been there. So I'm in the same pod. I'm just a couple cells down. I know everybody in there. I've already been networking with everybody in there. So I'm kind of like the man. All the Hispanics mess with me. There's a lot of activity going on in this part of the jail at this time, if you know what I mean. So I'm still moving and doing my thing. I'm in the cell. I make him clean up his stuff. We clean it up. We end up being cool. the distinctive thing about this man that I'll never forget, he read that Bible out loud every single day, all day. Not for an hour or two, I'm talking all day. I'm talking about you ready to squabble because, bro, shut up. Like, but you can't tell him to shut up. He reading the Bible. Like, it was the craziest thing. Like, he literally is reading it out loud. And he is taking notes. He is studying. Like, that man was on fire. He's still, to this day, the most on fire for Christ human that I've ever met in my life. Still, he was on fire. So I get in there, I find out a lot about him. He's from the area. This is what he's known for. So the police are trying to antagonize me because they hate that guy. They know him for praying and all day, and they know him for this in this area. This is his county. This is what he's known for. So they knew what they were doing. So I was right. They were strategically trying to antagonize me, and that's the type of stuff that goes on. But it's just so miraculous how God is, how he can turn what the enemy has for bad into good. Like, yeah, y'all thought that I was going to go in there and hurt him or end up doing something stupid or doing something and catch more time. But that's not actually what happened. He actually saved my life. Like, it was crazy. So I'm in there, I'm doing my thing, I'm networking, I'm at the door all day, talking, communicating with people. But we used to always do Bible study. At nighttime, everything shut down, we'll do our little Bible study. So this was one night, we're doing our Bible study, man. And I heard, it wasn't audible, but it felt almost as if it was audible. Like, it was the craziest thing, but I heard God and I felt his presence engulf me in that moment. And it was just like I understand, son, in your mind. Like, it was one of those confirmation type. It was the craziest thing. We were just doing Bible study, doing our regular thing. We was doing it every night. He started feeding me. I wasn't even knowing that I was being fed. He was feeding me every day, reading out loud, feeding me. So I started picking up the Bible myself, reading. I'm in the cell with him for weeks, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the time of this encounter. So I'm being fed, but I don't even know it. So at the time of the encounter, I felt the presence so strong. I've never felt it like that, ever. And I just break down crying hysterically. We're both standing up, and I'm crying hysterically, like a baby. And he just looks at me, and he just hugs me. And he's like, yes, it's happening. I'm like, I jump on the bed, I'm on the top bunk, and I'm still crying, and out of nowhere, I just start laughing hysterically, like crying, laughing. Like, it was the craziest thing. Like, I'm crying, laughing, and he's just sitting there on his bunk at the bottom, and he's waiting for me to be ready to talk, man. And I just jump back down, and he's just like, man, you're blessed. You truly are. Like, and ever since that day, my life has not been the same. Like, it didn't just happen overnight. I still had to take the steps daily. But after seeing that, how faithful and that God will touch you wherever you are, it made me like, there's no way I will ever let go. There's no way, because I felt it. So no matter what anybody tells me, no matter what the enemy tries to show me, whatever struggles I go through, I always can go back to that, because that was the realest moment for me. Like, that alone was just like, wow. We went to the yard. I called my mom. I told her about it on the yard. She was like, what do you mean? I'm like, man, like, I heard him. She's like, but you've been hearing him. I'm like, no, no. You have no idea. Like, and it was just the craziest thing. So that's a little bit about my testimony, man. Just a little bit about the God that I serve. How, oh man, like there's no words for it. He's so wonderful. Like, and then now that I'm out and I'm able to look back, because it's never until you get through the test and then you turn back and you're like, oh dang, that's what was going on. I prayed for rededication and he answered, but I still had a choice to make because I didn't want to go in that cell, but my miracle was in that cell. So just be obedient, when you pray and you ask for something, just understand that he already answered. So be in search for the answer and understand that it might not come in the packaging that you thought, but it's coming. Thank you guys. God bless you guys, man. I hope this truly touched somebody. My name is Kevin Elijah. Subscribe if you like what's going on here. Like and comment any other videos you guys want to hear. God bless you guys and have a good one.